an NYPD Sergeant turned Demonologist? I gotta have a look at this film. Hey guys, welcome to Ocean Chicks Films. I'm your host Karen, and tonight we're going to do a deep dive into the supernatural horror thriller from 2014, Deliver Us from Evil, directed by Scott Derrickson, and this one stars Bana, Edgar Ramírez, and Olivia Munn, and it's based on the book Beware the Night, co-written by Ralph Sarchie and Lisa Collier-Cool. NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie investigates a bizarre case, which brings him to a meetup with a renegade priest who tries to convince him that real evil and demons do exist. I have been wanting to review this for a long time, and I heard about this story, the real life story, quite a few years ago, and I heard about the movie coming out and I was waiting to watch it and I forgot about it and misplaced it somehow, and I just recently got to see it and I was like, oh, that's that movie that I wanted to see. I heard about it, I was intrigued, of course, because it's based on these true life events that happened, still happening, to this long-term police officer turned sergeant who deals with all these thugs and these really big deal cases, and he hooks up with some priests and they convince him to learn demonology and perform exorcisms and that kind of thing, and I'm just fascinated by this whole thing. The main character is based on this sergeant, Ralph Sarchie, but the director took liberties in putting this film together, of course. There are little bits and pieces from real life that were put together, but he kind of created more of a movie out of it to be entertaining. But man, this whole thing is so incredible. So this Ralph Sarchie guy, I mean, this is real deal stuff. It's happening whether you choose to believe it or not. I mean, that's completely up to you. But it's happening, and he's legit a demonologist. I just think that's so cool. And so he deals with these kinds of cases, and I saw him in an interview and he talked about it in terms of he's dealing with like the worst of the worst thugs on the planet, and it's just a step up from that. It's really no different. It's just something that's otherworldly instead of, happening here, and people are plagued by this stuff. From the stuff that I've seen in life and what I've been through, I tend to lean towards the side of believing it, because there are some things that I just can't explain, and I think that there's some validity to some of it. I really do. All of it, I don't know. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not trying to convince you to believe it, but I think it's legit, and so I love exploring this and learning as much as I can about it. Now, my dad, as I've said before, was a deacon for the Catholic Church. He's very, very interested in the afterlife and demonology, and the first thing he asked when he was preparing to become a deacon, which he had to go through a whole process to do, and it wasn't easy. When he was doing that and learning, that was the first thing he asked about was, did you guys actually perform exorcisms? And they do. They don't talk about it, but there are people that are assigned to do that kind of thing. So this isn't, evangelist kind of stuff, and this, heal people by you're saved and, pushing them down and that kind of thing. And, so many people are possessed. I think it's a very rare thing, but it's something that I think it's documented and it's out there, and there are things that people can't explain about it. So I tend to think it's kind of true. But my dad was very into that kind of thing. And of course, growing up alongside my dad, we hung out a lot, and I believe in it too. And I'm really interested in it. So recently I started thinking that I might actually take a course in demonology, just to learn more about it and just to hear the stories and things of stuff that's documented, things that are going on in the world. I think that would be really interesting. So I'll keep you posted on that. I also really got to get my hands on a copy of that book, Beware the Night, because it's like a memoir of his life and experiences and things that he's gone through. And he worked very closely with two priests, one of which I've also heard about. And I got to find this documentary about him, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. And like I said before, this movie's loosely based on a true person. But just to let you know up front, this review will have mild to moderate spoilers. And if that's not cool, then just click off now and we'll catch you on the next one. So my phone keeps freezing up and it's really weird. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, let's carry on. Let's talk about the director, Scott Derrickson. So I'm going to tell you about Scott in case you don't know what movies he's done. These are some of the things he's written and directed. We've got Hellraiser, Inferno, Sinister, Doctor Strange, and a movie that I plan on reviewing very soon, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Excited about that one. And also, very recently, it's all the buzz in the horror community, The Black Phone, which I haven't seen yet, but I do want to see. So apparently Scott worked very closely with Ralph Sarchie, learning about his life and cases and things that he was involved in, and created this film as a result of that. And one thing I heard him say is that he was inspired by it, same way that I am, which is that these things are out there, they're documented, they've happened, whether you want to believe in them or not. So it's very fascinating. So Ralph Sarchie was part of the 46th precinct, and he was a sergeant, so he was in charge of a lot of different people, training and organizing and putting them out there to fight crime. And he now works with just one other fellow on these cases, because I think this is solely what he does now since he's found this calling. So Bishop Robert McKenna and Father Malachi Martin, true life priests, worked together with Sarchie to help him learn and know how to perform these exorcisms and do this work. And Father Malachi, I am absolutely interested in so much. These people have passed away, I believe. But there's another documentary out there that's called Hostage to the Devil that I really, really, really want to hunt down and watch, because it's all about his life and true experiences, and I'm really interested in that. And if I do, I will definitely do a review for you. So let's talk about the plot of this film now. Sarchie's character, played by Eric Bana, he is a sergeant, and he's called out to this domestic violence case. And he goes to the people's house and finds the wife, and she's been beaten up by her husband, who's gone crazy. He's a Marine, and he's back from war, and he's kind of gone crazy, and she says he's not the same. There's something wrong with him. They find in the house there's like scratches on the floor, I think. Really weird, but basic domestic violence kind of thing. So they tried to haul him in to jail, because he's committed a crime. Then they quickly get another call to the Bronx Zoo, where this crazy lady has her toddler, and she's thrown him into the pit that's surrounding the lion's den. Yeah, and then when they meet up with her, man, she's right, whoa, out of there. That's where it kind of gets to be a little bit scary. But they grab her and they take her to the mental facility. Then they get another call of domestic abuse. And they find this family all huddled together in the living room, terrified to go anywhere in the house because there's all this supernatural stuff going on, so they claim. And they said that just prior to that, there were these two painters they hired that had their stuff in the basement, and they were getting ready to paint. And anyway, there was some weird stuff going on. So the sergeants, the detectives, they go downstairs to go investigate, and they smell this horrible smell and some weird writing and stuff on the walls. And on the ground, they find one of the business cards from the paint company, so they can go to the guy that's missing, go to his house to try to figure out what's going on. They get there, it's absolutely a filthy pig pen of garbage and stench. And they're looking through all the stuff, and then they find a picture of the crazy lady with the baby who threw her baby into the lion's den, a photograph of them in a frame on the mantle, and the pieces start to sort of come together in a weird way. So to summarize a little bit, you've got crazy people, you've got strange events happening, lots of domestic violence, and you have men kind of together that were in the military, right? So little bit of stuff going on here. And coming back from the war, and they're painters, this painting company kind of explains a lot, because, you know, painters can be kind of crazy sometimes. So then Sarchie bumps into, maybe coincidentally, I'm not sure, this Jesuit priest who starts to suss him out. He knows more than what he's saying, but he needs to find out if Sarchie is up for the challenge, because he knows that there's more to this whole story than what Sarchie has uncovered so far. So then together they go to the institution. I think she's in an institution, not a jail, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, she's right possessed, like right over the edge possessed, in dire need of their help. No question. It's really creepy, actually. I think it's really, really well done, too. I really enjoyed that part. It's scary. And she's there. They try to help her. In doing so, she bites them. You know, it's pretty brutal, pretty intense, and scary. And then they know they've got a huge problem. And I think at that point, he's starting to realize there's something more going on here than just killers. So Sarchie has a wife and a beautiful young daughter. And you know, he gets so overwhelmed and obsessed with these cases, because how wouldn't you, you know? And he starts to neglect them, and there starts to become kind of a tension between all of them, which of course the devil's going to feed off of, right? So not a good thing. And of course it will be a true test of his faith. So eventually, after he's investigated for a while, he comes to put together the story, which is that these men were deployed to another country, a war. They came up into this cave, found these artifacts and like writing on the wall, which potentially they brought back with them and create like a gateway to hell for these demons to escape into our world. So the father decodes the message that's written all over the walls of all these different people's homes, and tells Sarchie that it's like a bridge between Christian and pagan theories, philosophies, and thus resulting in this passageway to hell, like I said. So then Sarchie finds out that his wife and daughter are missing, because I think there's this child killer in the area as well. So they're terrified. He's got this message that he's got to try to recover them. And anyway, they narrow it down to this one fellow that was part of the military operation, came back, and he's completely possessed. And they strap him to a chair and they perform an exorcism on him, and it is scary as shit. It's so well done. He's really mean and nasty and strong and horrible. And because of the true life element to it, it kind of, I don't know, for me it added something to it. And of course they're able to successfully exorcise him and free him of this demonic presence and cast the demons back to hell. And he is just so grateful and bawling and terrified all at the same time when he comes out of it, that I really connected with him that way, because I thought to myself, what if those kinds of things happened and people thought you were just an idiot, or you know, you snapped and you had PTSD and you were gone crazy because of the stuff that you've been through, and you've turned into that monster, and they just treated you that way and no one ever helped you and you were trapped in that world. Terrifying, right? To me it is anyway. So him coming out of it and you being able to see that really brought something to it. For me, it was more moving than the ending of the first The Exorcist, to be very honest with you, when Linda Blair comes out of it and she hugs the priest. This was just much more, I don't know, this hit on my heartstrings a little bit more than that movie did for some weird reason. But I really loved it and I thought it was so good. Lots of great elements, lots of great jump scares, and it was a good storyline. I really enjoyed it. So a few fun facts. This was filmed in the Bronx as well as Abu Dhabi. And I think it has that grittiness. It's really, really, really good that way. I really love when they're on location. I like when things are filmed in New York as opposed to in the studios in LA kind of thing. I think there's just something more, there's much more of a different mood to them when you see films that are done that way. It's based on true events and based on that book, Beware the Night, which I absolutely want to read for sure. And I want to explore so many more of the documentaries and the interviews and things from the real life side of this. A lot of the budget was actually put back into the community, so to the residents of New York. I think that's super cool. I think they hired like 700 crew members and like 400 extras or something like that. Father Edgar Ramírez's character was based on two priests, like I said before, Bishop Robert McKenna and Father Malachi Martin. And I really want to look into Father Malachi because I think that story is fascinating. And as I've been going along here, a lot of these people are interconnected with Ed and Lorraine Warren on some level as well. So it kind of all comes together. I think that's really cool. I will be reviewing some of those movies and those stories as well. I think that's it. So for my review, I'm going to give it 4 shark bites out of 5 because I really enjoyed it. I think you guys will too. So give it a watch. Let me know in the comment section below what you think because I love to chat, especially about this stuff. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure did. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up because it helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dive movie reviews like this. Lots more coming up. Spirits and Screams live streams, which are going to be back this coming Saturday for sure, and you know, countdowns and all the other good fun stuff that we do, interviews and that kind of thing. I just want to say thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye guys.